Hello there. I'm the thirsty bookworm. I'm an introverted person. I like whiskey and I like talking about it, but I don't like talking to people. So I'm going to talk to myself for a while about Suntory Toki Japanese Whiskey, and you're all welcome along for the ride. This is the Whiskey Talkin. Okay, to start things off, let's get the name out of the way. Toki allegedly means time in Japanese. I can't verify this as I'm illiterate in the language, but I can't help but think about the fact that the Japanese word for time sounds like half of a clock ticking. Tick, Toki, tick, Toki. So maybe that's true. Suntory is owned by one of the largest alcohol based corporations, Beam Suntory. They make, and this may come as a shocker, both Suntory and Jim Beam. That solves the mystery of the silly name. They also make Maker's Mark, Baker's, Booker's, Knob Creek, Basil Hayden's, and some tequilas I've never heard of, that cognac I can't pronounce, Pinnacle Vodka, plus some other stuff they showcase on their website I'm oblivious to, and probably a bunch of other products that they're deeply ashamed of and don't want to showcase. Toki is a blend of whiskeys from the Yamazaki, Hakushu, and Chita distilleries. It's said that 75 to 80% of the bottle is from a lightly peated Hakushu and heavy grain spirit from Chita. Some portion of the remaining 25 to 20% as Yamazaki, which was aged in American oak and Spanish sherry cask. This comes in at 86 proof, which is 43% ABV if my non common core math can be trusted. That's 3% higher than it needs to be called whiskey in America, so it's right in that sweet spot of watering it down for more quantity to sell, but not rock bottom for people to complain about it. The bottle. I really like the aesthetic of this thing. The label is simple but interesting, and a quick Google Translate on the Japanese symbol shows that it means who knows. Google Translate didn't accept it as Japanese writing, so I can only assume it's gibberish. I can appreciate the design of the rectangular bottle as it lends itself nicely to hoarding lots of bottles without wasting much space. Very efficient. The label design manages to straddle the line of both being classy and not looking out of place on the shelf next to the decorative samurai sword owned by a guy who thinks his poster of Full Metal Alchemist is art because he put it in a frame from Hobby Lobby. It does have a screw top, so obviously it is bottom shelf swill and does not belong on your yacht. The color. The color of this, well, there's no way of getting around it. It's the color of urine in a person or animal who is slightly dehydrated. I mean, this stuff would make Bear Grylls break out in a cold sweat and start licking his lips. There's no cloudiness to it at all. It's as clear as filtered urine. The nose. I get acetone up front, but once I adjust past that, I get a real Irish whiskey feel, minus the shortbread cookie. I also get a delicate raspberry note and what I would call hard maple candies. My wife's nose. Definitely fruit. Raspberry. No peach or nectarine. And rubbing alcohol. Smoke? The website claims we should get basil, honey, and green apple. I guess we failed that round. The legs. On my patented scale of Lieutenant Dan to Dr. Frankenfurter, I'm going to give this one Robin Hood from Mel Brooks' classic Robin Hood Men in Tights. I read that this particular beverage was meant to be drank as a highball cocktail. In honor of Americans trampling other countries' traditions and dismissing their advice, I will be drinking it neat. The taste. Remember, this is subjective, so I'm right and you cannot argue with me. Malt forward with a light oak flavor. Not a lot of evolution, but I do detect some grapefruit and ginger on the back end. The company says I should be getting grapefruit, green grapes, peppermint, and thyme, and a finish that is subtle with some spicy oak and ginger. Hey, 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 look who just moved up to barely passing. I got none of the grapes, peppermint, or thyme going back in after reading the company's notes. So am I lying or are they lying? Who are you going to trust? Some stranger on the internet or a large corporation? The verdict. It's a real easy sipper, and I think it might be a good route to go for anyone interested in getting into whiskey or thinking of branching out from bourbon or Irish into Scotch. When I first bought this bottle, I thought very highly of it. As I've tried some more varieties, it has certainly fallen some due to its simplicity, but it's still very good in my opinion. I paid about $35 or 3,800 Japanese yen at the time of this writing, and I think it's worth every penny of that. I'm going to give this 4 out of 7 of the Chronicle of Narnia books. I would like to end this review with a haiku. Suntory Toki. It's been the Whiskey Talkin'. Review complete now.